On this episode, she and I talk to you about something really cool. NEGU TV, what's happening? Episode, I don't know how many, because we do these and we love doing them. And thank you for watching. Thank you for giving comments. Thanks for sharing them with your friends and family, your neighbors, your dog watchers, everybody you know. We love that. You can tell that I have this wonderful, beautiful, laughing lady next to me. Kaitlin Sandeno Hogan is jumping in to NEGU TV. Yay. Today, and want to give you just a sneak thing. Make sure that you share this with at least 5 people, because what we're going to talk about benefits anybody. Well, maybe not a toddler, but I mean, overall, you'll benefit from this, and I know you'll have people in your life that will benefit this. So Kaitlin is our national spokesperson. She has been our spokesperson for over 7 years. She actually got to meet Jessie, spent some time with Jessie, signed a lot of cool things for Jessie, but through that interaction, she's chosen to help kids fighting cancer, and so we're grateful for that. But from her journey, and she's going to share with you her journey, she's had the opportunity to write a book. Check that out, people. Hardcover, nice book. That's her. See. That's Kaitlin. And there'll be a link in the comment section where you can get your copy, because you're going to need to get a copy of this book. But Kaitlin, before we talk all about the book, let's hit the rewind button to why did you decide to want to write a book?
Writing a book was on the bucket list. It was definitely something that's always been in the back of my mind since I retired, which was in 2008. I started, mapping it out, what the chapters might look like and the different sections of my life that I felt was book worthy. And then after I got there, I just didn't know where to go from there. And it was something that, you just kind of kept putting on the back burner.
Yeah, right.
Something always comes up in life, right?
Sure.
Like, I'll get to that book sooner or later. And big believer that everything happens for a reason. And sure enough, 3 years ago, I was hosting at the 2016 Olympic trials for swimming in Omaha, Nebraska. And I got reconnected with a writer and an author who had covered my swimming career at the when I was at University of Michigan. So towards the end of my career, I was training there. And he was like, I'd love to run an idea by you. I'm thinking about starting these book series, and I want to cover different athletes throughout their swimming career. What's your interest level? And I was like, very interested.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do something like this. Somebody to help me. He's already written a book before. He has a massive experience in swimming and a huge plethora of knowledge of swimming. And so at first I wasn't sure about what angle we would take, but we decided to do the co-author. Spent some time together. It's over 3 years that took to get this book. Actually sooner than we thought. We thought maybe we'd push next year with the 2020 Olympics.
Yeah.
But it's actually good, because as you probably picked up on, the Olympic Games are starting to be talked about now. So there's a lot of hype around this, and then there's new swimming leagues.
That's exactly why we're taping this today, because of the Olympics are coming in 2020.
They're almost here.
They're almost here.
But yeah, it was a bucket list. It was something that I wanted almost at one point it was just in a PDF format, and I was like, I'm good. I got my copy. I'm good. You want that book. Yeah, but I'm sure you kind of touched on it earlier when we were speaking. It makes you feel a little vulnerable, Sure. I can't even say that word, but
so this book is not just about swimming, because I don't want you to think, oh, that's great, it's going to be a story about a swimmer. Yes, it's a story about a swimmer, but a story that is going to inspire you to think about your own life and how you can take the teachings that Kaitlin just teaches us through her own story about how to make the world a better place and how to overcome, as she calls them, speed bumps.
Yes, so my speed bumps.
Talk a little bit about a speed bump, because I'm sure people watching have maybe hit one.
Yes, so speed bumps to me are obstacles or times that was hard for you to kind of get going. They slow you down a little bit. And I went to my first Olympics when I was 17 years old in 2000, and my second Olympics, they happen every 4 years. And just because you make one Olympics doesn't mean you automatically qualify for the next one. So 4 years is a long time. Think about your lifespan, what happens in 4 years.
Right.
And although since I made it at such a young age, it's almost like you're predicted, like, oh, she should be able to make another one, because I still was kind of in my peak. But I had so many speed bumps in between, and those speed bumps for me were injuries and illnesses and a car accident, and quite frankly, just losing the love for the sport. A lot of self-doubt started creeping in there with these injuries, and just a huge transformation for me as a woman too. You know, I made my first team as a teenager, and then I went to the University of Southern California, and then you're asked to not only be good in the pool, but good in school and getting good grades and having a social life and maintaining a relationship with your family. I mean, it's a hard 4 years. So I had a lot of speed bumps and things that kind of derailed me for a little bit of my career. Pretty much the last, the 2 years right after the Olympics were hard, challenging, extremely challenging. And, I actually trained for 3 Olympics. I was trying to make the 2008 Olympics, and I didn't qualify. And when I share my story, I love doing motivational speeches. That's part of the reason why I wanted a book too, is that you get like this much time to talk. You're like, well, my story's this big. Yeah, totally. So now here it is. Totally. I mean, obviously I would have loved to make 3 Olympics, have the hat trick, but it's almost like it makes my story all the more relatable, because that's just life. Like, things don't go as you planned. And even though I worked 4 years for it, and in the end it didn't happen, it's like, it's a learning moment, and it's not just for myself, but to pass on to others. Like, it would have been amazing to retire, going to my 3rd Olympics and winning 5 Olympic gold medals, world records, but I didn't. And I almost like that's more real life. You know what I mean? I'm a human. I put my pants on like everybody else does. I think people think that professional athletes are in a whole other, class of their own, but it's like, I have big hands, like, and I turned into a mermaid a little bit. My ears were good and whatnot. But, I was born and raised right down the street here and have amazing parents. I got grounded in high school for missing curfew. You know what I mean? I got a C in one of my classes in college, so I just think that...
You could earn C's in college? Wow. Just kidding.
That was an option?
Yeah. Gosh, I didn't know that wasn't even an option. They never told me that.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
But I mean, and in the thick of it, and I think one of the things I'm the most proud about, having this story, the Jessie Reese Foundation is talked about here on the back and throughout the whole story. I'm so grateful to the Reese family for allowing me to add Jessie into my story. And quite frankly, I feel like you I hope are motivated by my story, but just as much, or if not more, by Jessie's story. Because I am an Olympian and I do have a platform, and it makes it a little bit easier for me to make a difference or to splash positive vibes. But Jessie was 11 years old when she started this foundation, and she didn't ask for permission. She asked for help, right? Yeah. But she wasn't like, hey, can I make a difference in the world? She's like, let's make a difference in the world, right? So I love how, my story and my swimming career, those speed bumps for me was a phase of never ever giving up. People was like, well, if you could only define your swimming career, what would it be? And it would be NEGU. And then here I am with this foundations for 7 years, whose motto is NEGU, never ever give up. It's funny how things work out, right? Or it's not funny. There's a reason for everything. So I hope this book inspires, motivates, encourages. If you're a young athlete, I think it's great for you, but I don't think that's our only audience.
Right. Absolutely.
Just anybody that wants, to
because I'm not young and I'm not an athlete, but I enjoyed the book. So hey, there's one person.
Yeah, definitely. And it was a therapeutical journey too. I mean, Eric knows this, but not a lot of people know that my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that was at the beginning of writing this story. And at that time, my mom wanted her journey to be private. She did not want us telling many people, and it was hard for me to hide it from Eric. I was an emotional wreck, and I felt safe coming to Eric about that. And at that time of my life, I put off a lot of things. Everything was pretty much on hold except for when I was coaching at Lake Forest Dolphins. And it was, being there for my mom, coaching, my commitment to my team, and that's when I started working on this. And so already being in an emotional state and then reliving memories that made me emotional. I'm not a super super emotional person, but I was during this time of my life. And I kept a journal during the 2000, the 2004 Olympics. And so to go back and read 17-year-old Kaitlin or read 21-year-old Kaitlin. And my first race that I talk about in here was like one of my biggest learning moments at my first Olympics in 2000. I got 4th. And everybody had predicted she's gonna win a medal, it's gonna be gold, oh my gosh, amazing. And I had never really been like a nervous swimmer before, that never really got in my head. I was pretty strong mentally. I got so nervous before this race because I was like, oh my gosh, I have to win a medal, that's all everybody's talking about. And when I finished the race, I thought I'd gotten 3rd just because you can kind of see where you are. And I was like, well, that's still a medal. And when I looked up and I saw that I was 4th, you don't get a medal for 4th. And I was crushed. I was devastated. And I went back in my journal and I wrote in my journal that I felt like I had let the country down.
Wow.
It's a lot for a 17-year-old. That's heavy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I almost kind of laugh at it, like, whoa, dramatic. But I know I wasn't. Like, I do recall that feeling because I don't think that was one and only times I've ever really cried after a race. But I don't think I was crying because I let myself down. I think I was crying because I was worried how other people would react to it, because other people were like, you're gonna win, you're gonna win, you're gonna win a gold. And I like let my like hometown down, you know? So to read those journals and then to be going through my mom's, you know, fight with cancer and to be writing it down in a book, it was a very emotional process. But we got through it and I'm proud of it. I hope that this is not the end of my story. I want to continue to, you know, inspire, encourage, and motivate. But this is hopefully, you know, the first chapter of writing books. Get it? First chapter.
Absolutely.
And just see where it could go from there. And for me, it's amazing. It's another platform, another avenue to share Jessie's story. And Jessie was 11 years old when she was diagnosed with 2 inoperable brain tumors, and she decided to use what she was gifted with to make a difference in the world and to inspire and to encourage kids to never ever give up. And I just hope that my story and Jessie's story can help inspire you to do the same.